do that. Okay, so welcome. This is a meeting of FENMHAN, August the 2nd. Summer is here. And today what we're going to do is quite simply catch up with each other and chiefly that for the first part of our time together, which is about an hour and a little bit if you've got the time. And then I want to share with you what we've had back from the survey that we sent out to people who participate in all 3 of the networks in the county. So this one, Fenland, a Cambridge one, the Cambridge network, and the Peterborough network, which is known as FENMHAN. And Laura, who's here today, is host for that. So a little bit about that, some feedback from that survey, which inclines us towards wanting to think about what we could offer to each other as a network of networks. So we'll come to that once we've been around the group. And then there's also a suggestion that I'd like to make at the end in relation to what we might do as 3 networks first. It's something that I think we could arrange quite quickly and offer it on Zoom. So it'd be an easy in and easily accessible meeting, benefit to all of us. So that said, welcome. My name's John and I'm one of the steering group for FENMHAN, the Fenland Mental Health Action Network. And as you know, we're here to support each other because we rely on each other and we work together as best we're able to achieve our individual aims and goals and wants, but also to the benefit, of course, of the people that we serve between us, who move between us in the whole of their lives. I've got you all on my screen and I will go around the screen. We've got plenty of time, given the number of us who are here today, to go around the group and say a little bit about our current situation, facing the summer, coming out of COVID, and so on. And Charlie, I've got you first on my screen. So Charlie, how are things with you?
Good morning, everyone. This is my first time on the FENMHAN meeting, so thank you for having me. I'm social prescribing link worker for Octagon medical practice, but probably the only Fenland surgery that I actually cover is the Jenner Health Centre in Whittlesea. I'm also currently chairing the Focus on Community group with the support of Kerry, who's also on the meeting. At the moment, everything is moving forward as we hoped it would as soon as the lockdown had come to an end. We're becoming quite a hive of activity and lots of supportive groups coming our way, which a lot of the partners on this meeting will be able to tell you more about, I think, as we go along. Thank you.
You're on mute, John.
I'm on mute, sorry. So I was just saying, if anybody wants to come back to Charlie with a question or a comment, please do. We do have the time. But thank you, Charlie. Lovely to have you with us. And our need of and our awareness of social prescribing as one of those strands in what we do is increasing. There's no doubt about that. So welcome. Emma.
Good morning. My name's Emma.Taylor. I'm the Recovery College manager and peer support professional lead within CPFT. It too is my first time here. I believe Robert came last time, so Robert's just been appointed as our coordinator for our Wisbech spoke, which we are hoping to open in November. So really, really excited to be here and kind of hear what's going on and look for some partnership working possibly. So thank you, John.
You have a new name, Emma. We don't call you Recovery College any longer. Do you want to say just a little bit about that? That's really interesting.
Okay, so we are RCE Wellbeing Hub. I think we we've always been sort of talking about having a relaunch and having a new name. I wondered if Recovery College actually explained what we did. College kind of has, these thoughts of being sort of sat in rows. And I think inside of services, we understand what recovery means. But I wondered if recovery was the right word for the general public and things. So we put it out to a consultation, and we had over 300, I think it was 352 votes, which we were quite impressed with for our new name and logo. So lots of changes coming up, also looking at physical health, not just mental health, which I think is long overdue as well. Is that all right, John?
Thank you. And
Thank you.
How far have you got with the idea of the spoke and what the spoke might look like? Is that taking shape then at the moment?
I feel like I'm on interview this morning. So
yes, next question.
Bless you. No, we're in very, very early stages, John, I'll be frank. I think I sort of started in January. I've had other priorities, but now that I have Robert in as the coordinator, I think we can now got some time to actually, really focus in on what that needs to look like for the local need, and kind of take it from there. So I would say that we're still in the very early stages. So, your views and ideas are really important because they could help shape whatever we end up with.
Really exciting, Emma. Thanks for sharing that and welcome.
Thank you, John. Sorry for being
cheeky. Not at all. I think I might have been cheeky to you first, so I do apologise. No, it's lovely actually. It's great to know that Recovery College is moving into at a ground level into Fenland. It's wonderful. Rebwar, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, John. I'm good, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Rebwar Hussein. I'm an engagement officer for Healthwatch, Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. For those who knew, Healthwatch is an independent champion for people who use local health and social care services. We are collecting people's experience with the health and social care service. We are independent, not part of NHS. And we also provide information about local health and care services. For example, if you have difficulty to find service near to you, you can contact our information team. And also, if you have any good or bad experience with using health services or care services, you can tell us about. What we do is we collect people's experience and log everything what people tell us. We share with the service providers, also with the clinical commissioning group and the Healthwatch England to find out whether the concern are local or national. So myself as the engagement team, we are normally out and about to talk to people and collecting their experiences. At the moment, we have been doing this online, but now we're gradually and slowly going back to face-to-face. I would say that actually we have booked 3 or 4 engagement for this month in Fenland, which is the one we will be having a stall at the International Play Day, which is called Wisbech Play Day at the Spinney, Whitehouse Road on the 4th of August. And then we will have a stall at with the event called Family Sporty Fun Day on the 11th of August at the Oasis Child and Family Centre. The third one will be Bonus Day on the 25th of August, same place, Oasis Child and Family Centre. We will be also, Healthwatch have 4 health and care forum across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, which is a monthly one for Peterborough and bi-monthly for Huntingdonshire, Greater Cambridge and Fenland. The next Fenland Health and Care Forum is on the 12th of August. This is a public forum. We would like, if anybody interested, you can go on our website, or I can send you an invitation link. Yeah, that's what we do. And our plan for this month, we will be having a stall at this community event. Thank you very much. Any question?
Thanks, Rebwar. And if you want to use the chat bar to put your website address and any relevant information, please do use it.
Thank you.
Is there I just wondered, what's the take up like for the public consultations? How's that going?
Actually, for this is the form actually for anybody to attend, to listen what is happening, and also share your experiences. And if you have any questions, we normally have we invite the service providers to answer your question, either by take action, or if there's somebody from, for example, it's from the Northwest Anglia Foundation Trust, and they have a representative, or sometimes we have a representative from the CPFT. If anybody have a question, they can answer the question, or we will take the question and then get back to it in the next form. I will put the chat the information about the next Fenland event, and also if you would like to share your experience, you can contact our information team, or you can go on our website. We have either Peterborough website or Cambridgeshire website to share your experience. I will put the link in the chat box.
Thank you. Key thing is you are independent, an independent body. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we are not part of NHS. Every local authority had a health switch, and we are your health switch for Cambridgeshire and Peterborough.
Lovely. Thanks, Rebwar, and thanks for being here. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Kim, hello, Kim. How are things going for you?
Hi, I'm the Client Service Manager for Choices Counselling. We provide long-term counselling for adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse. We've had, since the pandemic started, 3 lots, I think now, from MOJ funding, which has allowed us to offer all clients on the waiting list 6 sessions of symptom management sessions, one-to-one with a counsellor. They're kind of psychoeducational sessions around trauma and the effects of trauma on the brain and body, and giving the client kind of tools and techniques that they can use, hopefully to help to kind of stabilise themselves while they're waiting for the longer term counselling. We have run a survivor and supporter webinar over 3 kind of sessions. We used to do it as a Saturday for waiting list clients, and then either friends or relatives. Used to do that in a physical space. We've now done that online, and that seemed to work quite well. And we have just managed to gather enough kind of clients together for a couple of pre-counselling support groups, which will be starting in September online. I have very, very little interest from clients in anything group-wise. They just want the one-to-one counselling. We've also had funding from MOJ to take on, or with the counsellors we've already got, the majority of whom are volunteers. They've funded 30 associate counsellor roles for us, so we can take an additional number of people off the waiting list. We're starting to think about moving back into a physical space with some clients. A fair number of clients for the moment are very happy and wanting to stay online. Unfortunately, through the pandemic, we've lost use of the rooms that we had in both Wisbech and March. So I'd be very grateful if anybody has any suggestions of rooms suitable for counselling one-to-one, but in which we could also kind of physically distance. Any suggestions would be very gratefully received. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, so if anybody does know of space that could be made available to Kim's service, then do share here or contact Kim later, or put something in the chat bar. Thanks, Kim. Claire, hello, Claire. How are things going for you?
Hello, everybody. Well, we are starting to think about how it's going to look when we go back to face-to-face appointments. At the moment, we're still remotely working or using Zoom or WhatsApp for meetings. We have started delivering our training and continue to deliver training via Zoom. That won't be going back to face-to-face for a little while, but at the moment we're sort of waiting on more guidance and how things pan out a little bit before we start to get back to seeing people. We are finding out what clients want, and it seems to be a little bit half and half. Quite a few of our clients are happy to stay with with remote appointments. Some would like face-to-face once they resume. So it's quite interesting to see. I think for a lot of people it's probably easier to remain remote. It cuts out quite a lot of anxiety for clients we've found with travelling, etc. So, and we're happy to work with that going forward. Depending on what people want, we can work with that. So it may be that some of our appointments will always be virtual, some will go back to being face-to-face. But that sort of, nothing has greatly changed for us at the moment, but we're sort of starting to think about it now.
Hiya, Claire. For those that are new, will you just say what
sorry, yeah, I didn't
and...
say, did I? Sorry. Yeah, I work for Richmond Fellowship Employment Services. We cover all of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, and we support those struggling with their mental health to either get back into work or retain their current workplace. That's it in a very brief nutshell.
You're on mute again, John.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and some contributions coming into the chat bar about spaces, places you might be able to use Kim. I don't know if you've noticed that, but they're beginning to line up there. Claire, thank you. It's lovely to see you. It'd be interesting to hear how it is for people who are working for Richmond Fellowship when it comes to the matter of coming back to face-to-face working and so on. It's an interesting issue in itself. Are you yourself doing an amount of face-to-face now again? And so on?
We are back in offices, so staff are back in offices on a rota basis, but we're not actually seeing clients face-to-face yet. Yeah. So none of us are at the moment.
Okay, well, it's lovely to see you, Claire. Thanks for dropping
Thank
in.
you.
And now we come across to Kate from Care Network.
Hi everybody, it's good to see some new faces and put some faces to names. That's always helpful, and familiar people. Hello Kerry, waving there. Yeah, so for those who don't know, I'm the Wellbeing Service Development Lead for Care Network Cambridgeshire, and we offer a range of wellbeing services across Cambridgeshire, one of which isn't available in Peterborough, unfortunately, but the other 3 strands of our 4 strands are. So I think the easiest thing I might do is make sure that you've got, and I think colleagues, I think probably my colleague Kate Winters usually attends, and she's probably shared this with you before, but I've put a link to our wellbeing leaflet, and if you've got an older version, get rid, please. But I mean, the contact details are correct on the older version, but that's the new one. And if you want to have a look and see what it is we're offering and where we're offering it and have any questions, it might be quicker for you to come back to me that way. And right at the top of the chat, I put my contact details for me personally, rather than the wellbeing team. In terms of our team, we are expanding currently. And we've got a deadline today, and we had a deadline on Friday for 2 posts. One is the Peterborough post to a full-time post for a trusted friend project that we're wanting to expand there, where we're going to deploy volunteers to enable people who perhaps feel anxious or unable to get back out and about into their communities and do the activities and engage in the way they want to, but they need a little bit of support. So we're going to hopefully recruit. I hope this week. We're interviewing this week, and we'll try and keep you posted as to who that is in the Peterborough area. All our services do run in the Fenland area, so do have a look at the leaflet and get back to me. And if anyone's got any questions, as I say, just ping them in the chat or contact me separately. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you, Care Network. I always find that when I do hear from someone who would like some support from heart and soul, it's a very thoughtful kind of approach, a very thoughtful referral, if you see what I mean. You seem to take great care. You seem to take great care matching what someone is in need of or is looking for with who might provide it. So thank you for that.
Well, actually, that's really encouraging to hear, and thank you for the feedback. Just so that you know, Care Network is a broader than just wellbeing providers. So we have our community navigators, our help at home, and our community development services. And I think that's why we can be very careful about the way we support clients, because we've got a whole breadth of other expertise within the service as a whole that we can draw on. So we often find that maybe 3 or 4 different people from different elements of our service are focusing in on the client's needs and filling gaps for them. But we try and do that through one member of staff, so as not to confuse the client or other professionals involved. So it's a very broad offer, but the bit I work on is particularly around mild to moderate anxiety and or depression. Thanks very much, John. I'm liking the big up.
Thank you very much, Kate. And now Leonie from Mind. Hello.
Hi everyone, lovely to see so many faces. So in terms of what we do in the Fenland area, we offer our Good Mood cafes, and we're hoping to start our Trinity Church Good Mood Cafe from the 2nd of September. I think that's Wednesday. I think from 11:30 to 11:30 till 1 o'clock. We're still doing a large amount of our support online. So a lot of our Good Mood cafes are moving back out face to face. Still trying to maintain that kind of social distancing, wearing masks wherever possible. You know, trying to still, even though restrictions have been lifted, keeping in mind that, you know, there is still a pandemic happening. So trying to be mindful of that when we're coming back out face to face. Similarly to what Clare and Richmond Fellowship have been doing, we're speaking to a lot of the individuals that we support about what their preferences are, how they would like support moving forward, and having a bit of consultation with the individuals accessing our services. So for a large amount of our peer support groups, we're currently going through that consultation period, identifying where there's a need for face-to-face groups, which groups actually would prefer to stay online for the time being, because similarly we've had that feedback that for some people being online eliminates that anxiety, that worry, and actually it can fit into people's days a bit easier than having to physically travel somewhere or physically be in a group, reducing that anxiety. But equally, there are people who online is more scary or more daunting, and that face-to-face is much better. So yeah, trying to do that balancing act across our services of getting the need right, but also making sure that we're not doing too much too soon, and we're being quite mindful in the way that we're approaching these things as well. So at the moment, there's no real big updates for our services. We're kind of just going as usual. We do have our personality disorder peer support group in Wisbech, which is currently still online. We've got our Hearing Voices group that's online. And as I said, we'll be introducing the Good Mood Cafe in Wisbech at the beginning of September. We do actually have our brand new branded website that's up and live. So you might have noticed on our social medias and things like that, the Whole of Mind has had a bit of a rebrand to make our brand a bit more accessible, easier to read, and kind of portray our message a little bit better and stronger. So our whole website's been updated. Hopefully it's a little bit easier to navigate, and It's even got forms that you can fill in to send an inquiry in instead of having to jump to loads of different people, to make it a bit more accessible for people as well. So all of our upcoming news is available on the website, and hopefully it's a lot easier to find and easier to navigate as well. So yeah, please do have a look. I'll pop it in the chat for anyone who doesn't know it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, thanks, Leonie. Thanks very much, Leonie. And it's lovely to have you with us today and to hear all about mine's new website. I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, Lisa. Hello, Lisa. How are things with you?
You're on mute.
There you go.
Everyone. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Shepherd and I'm the alcohol health trainer at Healthy You. And so for anybody that doesn't know, it's an alcohol reduction service free to anybody who's drinking a bit more than they'd like to be. And we've seen that with the pandemic, drinking's gone up across the board. We're seeing it in Alcoholics Anonymous. We're seeing it at CGL, the Statutory Drug and Alcohol Service, GP surgeries. People have used alcohol to cope. They've changed wine o'clock to a lot earlier because they're not out in the office. There is just a big increase. We saw more deaths in the last 12 months from alcohol. And these are only the direct deaths to alcohol. There's probably a lot more that we've seen more in the last year than in the last 20 years. So yeah, a real need for people to get some help. And yeah, free service. Haven't really got a lot to update. I'm delivering a lot of IBA, which is identification and brief advice around alcohol. So it's for anybody who's working on the front line that may be working with clients that are drinking a little bit more than is healthy. And if you wanted to book, or if any of your colleagues would like to book onto that, you can go through the Healthy You website. And if there is a group of people, like a team, then you can contact me directly and I will deliver to your whole team. I generally deliver on a Friday. So yeah, all going well. Numbers are rising. We're getting known more in the Peterborough area now because we're a new service there. Really enjoying the role. There's a great pleasure in seeing people make positive changes, as I'm sure all of you understanding your own roles. I do have a client booking at 12:30, so I will be dropping off this meeting about 20 past, but nothing really new to update. So thanks, guys.
Good to see you, Lisa. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing. Are you working online then, Lisa? You're doing online-based stuff yourself, yeah?
We're doing both. So I am place-based. I am all over the county, Huntingdon, Peterborough and Fenland. But what I'm finding is 90% of the clients, for loads of different reasons, geographical, health, childcare, anxiety, not having a car. Most of my clients do wish to continue with telephone appointments. I'm really trying to encourage people to get back to face, but at the moment it's not the popular choice. I think people have realized in a lot of ways there's so much quality to face, don't get me wrong, but for someone to come in for a 30-minute appointment who's got to travel and get buses and so yeah, I am mainly, so I go to a physical clinic where people can come in and see me and spend most of my time doing telephone appointments whilst at the different clinics. So yeah, all we can do is encourage people, but as long as they're getting the help, as far as I'm concerned, it was whatever suits the individual client.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for what you do. It's good to have you with us. And
thank you.
And now we move over to Rox. Over to you, Rox.
Hi all. So I also work for Healthy You. So my job role with Healthy You is Community Engagement Network Lead across Fenland and Peterborough. Little bits happening amongst Healthy You. We've still got a lot of staff secondment currently to support the track and trace. We are also out for recruitment for a couple of roles as well. So we are recruiting for a Eastern European health trainer, and we've got a couple of posts which I think are closing this week, which are another alcohol health trainer to support Lisa, diabetes health trainers, and place-based health trainers as well. In terms of our clinics and how we'll be working, Lisa touched upon it, but we are slowly starting to try and transition back to face-to-face. Main piece of my job role these past couple of weeks has been to try and re-engage with the GP surgeries across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough to try and establish their capacity to have us back in their clinics. We're trying to be mindful, and we're going to try and approach it as a PCN clinic rather than an individual GP clinic, just for our own capacity. So that would be one clinic within a PCN. So the client, if they're able to travel, can access that one clinic for that PCN. If they aren't able to, and we do have a build-up of service users wanting support, then we're going to try and dot community clinics in to plug the gaps where we can. We've also been awarded some additional public health funding for our weight management services. So commencing next month, and I can share with John the leaflet, we are going to be starting a parents weight management group. So those that have children in the 0 to 18 bracket, obviously they're busy parents. A lot of the time their own health and wellbeing needs don't come first. So that's one of the services, or one of the additional funding, should I say. And also we'll be doing additional funding for learning disabilities, and there's another one, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But as and when sort of marketing is produced for these, I can share it internally with you guys. But that's it from me. Nice to see everyone.
Thanks, Rox. And just to be clear, what when you say PCN?
Oh, sorry. I'm so used to jargon and lingo talk. So PCN is primary care network. So all GP surgeries across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough will sit into PCNs, so primary care networks. So they should operate as a group, but we are finding a lot of them still want to work silo and won't allow us to open our clinics. They will only allow us to support their own patients if we're based out at their GP surgeries.
Right, got
you.
you.
We will get there. We will get there.
Yeah, and what I mentioned a survey earlier. When we surveyed people who participate in the networks that we have, like this one, physical health was mentioned quite a few times, was sort of peppered around. So there's going to be hopefully a turning back to more physical activity as a part of health and well-being, isn't there? As we start to come out of the pandemic, all being well, if things progress as they are. So thanks for being here, Rox. It's nice to have you with us. And now we have Beth from Fenland Community Arts. Hi, Beth.
Hi, John. Thank you. So I'm Beth. I'm the Community Learning Manager for Cambridge Community Arts, which offers Fenland Community Arts. We offer creative courses to support people to improve their own mental health and well-being through creative activities. So we've been operating in Fenland, mostly in Wisbech and March, for the last few years. We haven't got anything coming up just now in Fenland. We're awaiting news of a funding application, so but which we're fairly confident of. So keep your eyes peeled for a short course programme in Fenland, which will start in the autumn time. In the meanwhile, I know not everyone can travel, but some people do. We have had learners travel to us from Fenland and surrounding areas. So we've got our year-long course programme starting in September. That programme is planned to be all in person, face-to-face teaching in community centres in Cambridge City and Cambridge North. And that's a year-long part-time courses in visual arts, photography, drama, music production, digital art, and new for this year, creative writing. So we're recruiting and taking applications for those courses now. We have learned a lot about delivering online learning, and that will continue to be part of our offer going forward. So our short course programs will begin kind of later in the autumn term, around about November, and that will be a mix of online and in-person courses across a range of art forms. So of course the online courses are accessible from anywhere. So hopefully there'll be things of interest there to our Fenland learners as well. If you're not on our mailing list, please sign up. I've put the link in the chat. That's the best way to be the first to hear about new courses as they're programmed. We don't send a lot of spam out, I promise. It'll just be about 4 times a year you'll be notified of our programme. If any organisations or teams are not familiar with Cambridge Community Arts, I am very happy to attend a team meeting to make sure that you're well informed and feel confident signposting to us. What we offer as an organisation is a safe and supportive, non-judgmental space that prioritises people with a health condition or disability or caring responsibility. So we're really a person-centred organisation that meets people where they are, gets to understand what their needs might be so that they can feel safe to come and explore themselves as artists. And yeah, I think that's probably it from me, unless anyone's got any questions.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you. And do use the chat bar if there's anything you need to share or would like to share with each other, or any questions you have for anyone. You could always use the chat bar for that as well. David, hello David, how are you? How are things with you?
You're muted, David.
I think you're still muted, David.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, I thought you were going to leave me till last because I'm hearing such a lot of interesting news, and I've met several of these ladies on the different treks that I've taken over this last week or two, or month or two actually. My name's David Jordan. I'm the honorary president now of Rethink Mental Illness across Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. I was for 25 years the coordinator. My daughter Sarah, who John met very briefly, and I are now trying to establish a better understanding of the difficulties it is for people who live in Fenland with mental illness, and we're trying to find ways and means of catching up with them. Charlie, if she's not on my screen at the moment, Charlie Chittenden would have actually met my granddaughter last week, Gemma, who was seconded there for a week, I believe. Gemma is a CPFT nurse on a training, university course at the moment. I met also Leonnie, yes, last week, wasn't it? I think at a meeting of the Cambridge Rethink Mental Illness. I'm also an ambassador in Peterborough for the Arts and Minds, which is a arts on prescriptions service. Personally, I'm also the on the Integrated Urgent Care Committee for Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, and on the NHS England Voices, Patients and People's Voices Committee, or board, as it called. So, but hopefully my daughter Sarah will be gradually taking over from me in the next year or two, as she's just recently been appointed as a governor of the CPFT. So, and we look after 2 boys, I say boys, 60 and 62, no, 59 and 60, who have got, unfortunately, mental illness, one schizophrenia and the other clinical depression. So, you know, I do know what mental illness is all about. And, you know, hopefully, John, from 1 or 2 people that I see here today, you know, I'm going to build, hopefully, a network across Fenland that will actually help people who have got mental illness and or their carers. Thank you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thanks for, I don't know how you fit it all in. Thanks for everything that you have done and are doing. And David and I are together on September the 11th with an organisation, or rather a group that isn't here today, the Market Towns Initiative. I'd like you to know about that. I'll mention it very briefly now, that on September the 11th, we're having an event called Good Conversations about Mental Health and Wellbeing. And it's to encourage people in churches, faith communities, to be and to feel more confident about what they can actually do. Indeed, what they are actually doing, you usually find. And if anybody here can add to that event, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you if there's anything that you can contribute. But I'll send you more details on that anon. Jack, would you like to come in and say hello?
Yes, I shall do. I've just put in the chat as well. I think that's something we'd probably like to attend.
Lovely.
Support in any way that we can. Yes, I'm Jack. I'm on the Digital and Community Engagement Coordinators with CPFT as part of the How Are You team. The main bulk of our work is digital spaces across Peterborough and Cambridgeshire, which capture everything locally that's good for wellbeing. So that's capturing sort of groups, activities, and support that people can access in their communities that they can do to sort of improve their own well-being and the mental well-being. So in terms of the work, I think we're almost at the stage that all six websites are live, and hopefully our central landing page should go live this week as well. We've got some new recruits hopefully coming on board soon, and there's some specialist engagement coordinators to help us reach some of the ethnic minority communities that we have difficulties in engaging. And in terms of, I guess, my work in Fenland, I'm kind of just trying to get out and about a bit more. I've been doing sort of some scoping work, going around some of the smaller villages, popping into some of the churches and community centres, taking lots of photos of notices that are on, of activities that are happening that maybe haven't got a digital presence or a Facebook page, trying to find out some of that stuff that we get in touch with them and get them sort of showcased on the website. So actually we've got a real nice range of things on there, from coffee mornings to fitness classes to archery clubs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been doing lots of kind of just driving around really and soaking in some of the spaces that I've not been before, and some of the villages that I'd never kind of driven through or anything. So yeah, it's been really interesting, and like I say, hopefully we'll kind of get out and about and meet more people face to face and do some of that engagement work.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks for How Are You. It's a pretty dynamic thing you've got going there. It's wonderful. So thanks for the difference you're making. And we have three more to share: Kirstin, Kerry and Laura. So thank you for your patience. We will get to everybody. And so Kirstin, how are things with you?
Hi, so I'm Kirstin Henderson. I'm the mental health liaison practitioner for Fenland with the primary care mental health service. It's all a bit of a mouthful. I joined the team about 6 weeks ago, so this is my first time coming to this meeting. We've also got another post going out so that there'll be a counterpart for me, so we can split into North and South Fens, because we found, I think someone mentioned earlier about kind of liaising with GPs. We've found the GP surgeries are, understandably busy, and that's been a particular challenge. So we're going to have two of us so that we can have a bit more time to do that work, which hopefully really benefits everyone. So yeah, we've got some interviews next week, which is really exciting, and yeah, nice to see everyone.
Could you tell me again, Kirstin, where you're operating yourself, whereabouts you're based? I might not have picked it up, sorry.
No, that's okay. Primary care mental health service, so part of CPFT.
Well, thanks for joining us today and for sharing. It's lovely to have you with us. And we move over now to Laura. Hello, Laura. You might want also to mention what you sent out in an email earlier today, looking after ourselves, all that.
Yeah, okay. So I'm from Richmond Fellowship. I'm the Autism and Asperger's Employment Advisor for the county. Claire did a very good roundup earlier, so I have no further information to add in regards to Richmond Fellowship. So that's a quick one. I head up the FENMHAN, which is the Peterborough Multi-Agency Network. I know a number of you from there, and we've got a meeting coming up here next week or the week after, I think. I can't remember. I sent the invite around the other week and I can't even remember when it is. And as John was saying, we've done some joint network discussions recently between FENMHAN, Peterborough and Cambridge. And we're looking at feedback. And one of the things that was flagged was a wellbeing type course for ourselves. Now, those of you FENMHAN attendees are aware that we did a trial run of this for FENMHAN last year sometime, I think it was. And so we had a couple of questions to just pose to you, if that's okay. John, I'll quickly grab the email that I sent to you this morning.
Yeah, run it by us, Laura. It'd be interesting to see what people think.
Run it by, exactly. So we were just wondering how many people would be interested in something like this? Would you be willing to pay for a session, just a couple of hours one morning? How much would you be willing to pay for said meeting? And then it was just a question to the network heads to see when we wanted to do that.
So this is an opportunity for us to gather to do something reflecting on how we take care of ourselves. So taking care of ourselves, we who take care of others, basically. And the questions were about how we might support it by contributing to the cost of it and whether that was doable or not. And you might not be able to say here and now, but I think maybe in principle, would you support this proposal? And secondly, when about should we do it, Laura? I know you mentioned September, but that seems dreadfully close now to me. So it'd be interesting to know when, people's feel for when we should do something like this. But what you're saying, Laura, is a couple of hours together?
I think that's what we did with FENMHAN. I think it was like a 10 till 12 slot on Zoom. This obviously is being posed for the joint networks. I know, Claire, I mentioned this in our last team meeting. Just for Claire to come, there. So yeah, that's it really.
So any comments then about whether in principle you'd like us to go ahead and organise something that is available to all three networks? And secondly, when would it be appropriate to do it? Leonie.
Okay.
I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea. I wasn't able to make the last one, so I'm kind of really hoping to be able to join it this time. Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic idea. It's brilliant that it's been shared out between all of the networks. I think it's something we can all benefit from. It'd be interesting to know if like wider teams, because most of us are managers or leads for other services, so whether or not not just for those who attend the network, but the staff that we work with as well, if they'd be able to attend it. As for costs, I think, obviously it's important for you guys who are putting on that to be paid in some way for that, because there's a lot of resources that go into training, there's a lot of time and energy. However, I know from our perspective that might be a barrier to us attending something like that. But I can also completely understand the need from yourselves to do that. And in terms of dates, yeah, I'd agree that September is probably a bit too early. but maybe a little bit later on in the year, especially as we're coming into more of the winter months. That tends to impact on people a lot more around their well-being as the days start getting shorter. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents.
Thanks. Laura? Jack, sorry, Jack.
Yeah, so I think we funded Living Sport to do something similar for volunteers and their well-being. And I think the feedback was that yeah, it was great and it was needed. I think they originally sort of did it as a £50 cost. I think that was a full day though. But for some of the charities and smaller groups, it kind of put people off. Even though it was a voluntary contribution, I think yeah, that amount for some of the smaller groups probably is too much. Maybe some of the other organisations could afford it, but yeah, some of the smaller community groups I think might struggle with that. So whether or not it can be, you know, a suggested donation, or you kind of pay what you can afford for some of those smaller ones, might be an idea. And I probably agree actually, yeah, later in the winter when we're all kind of, you know, fed up with being dark at R4 and January and Christmas is over and you're feeling a bit rubbish, I think yeah, I think it might be a good time.
Thank you. So is that enough for now, Laura? Do you think we can have a conversation following that when we gather as a 3-network steering group or whatever? Yeah. Later in the year, and a cost should be no barrier, and the question of how wide it should be cast. But we can talk about that, Laura, can't we? Seems to be a good idea anyway, doesn't it? Everybody seems to be supportive. Thanks, Laura. Is there anything else, Laura? Okay, thanks for being here. We're coming towards the end, but by no means, although last by no means least, Kerry, over to you. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Kerry, I actually work for Cambridgeshire County Council as part of the Youth in Communities, which is in the bigger Think Communities team. And my role is as a youth and community development manager for Fenland. So what I actually do is work with individuals, groups, or larger organisations and help them develop projects for their communities or develop their organisation, depending on what their needs are. So although I'm not specifically working on mental health comes into so much of what I do. Obviously at the moment, post-pandemic, great concerns about young people and mental health. And we're seeing some of the behaviours, if you like, that go along with the development of mental health issues. So I'm working with various people to develop projects. So yeah, very, very much based in the community, with the community, and be good to be here and listen to all the services that are there. I mean, I do work quite closely with people in care network already in CPSL Mind and with people like Jack. So really just trying to, you know, establish more relationships so that we can make referrals to all these wonderful services, and that is
Thank you, Kerry. We're coming towards the end, and I'm very grateful that you were able to stay on to the end of the journey. I'm going to bring the plane into land now, because what I would like to do is to tell you that the survey that we did of all 3 networks has produced some interesting ideas. I've summarised them and I will send them out as a single-page document. And just pick up and highlight some of the themes that we might work with as a network of networks. And the suggestions that we've given to Laura to take away that we will then work on so that we can take care of each other as a network of networks in some kind of a looking after yourself session. We'll do that too. And finally, I will tell you about the September the 11th event that I mentioned earlier. I'll send out details about that, because if you can be involved in any way, I'd be ever so grateful. And finally, I was going to suggest that we could have a 3-network session with somebody from the integrated care system, who's the director of strategy and planning, who used to work for CPFT. I think that would be worthwhile. We would find out a lot more about where they're at in terms of the new way of working and planning and doing across the county, including Peterborough, and how we on the ground can fit well with what they're seeing needs to be done and how they want to achieve that, which is the strategic bit. And the person I have in mind is a very grounded person who I worked for a while. I think she'd be really good in a meeting like this, and we can have a conversation and do some learning together about maximizing the opportunities that will come around as a result of the switch to integrated care. If it goes well, it ought to be better, of course, for the people that we care for and that we care about in the communities that we serve. So I'll send out details about that as well. But with your permission, because there's been a lot of information shared, there's a lot to absorb, I will stop the meeting there and send you a link to the recording. If you want to revisit anything that anybody has said, you can turn to that bit in the recording and check it out, and we can share our meeting with others too. So for now, I'd like to thank you. I will be in touch. I'll send you what I've said I will send you, including a link to the recording. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, a fantastic August, and I'll see you sometime in the early autumn. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.